Trying to hide. Come on up. Yeah, come on. You're fine. All right, well, good morning, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. I especially want to thank BCPS Superintendent Dr. Rogers, School Board Chair Tiara Booker-Dwyer, Councilmember Julian Jones, as well as a representative from Councilman Pat Young's office. I want to thank our directors of Department of Housing and Community Development, our Director of Planning, as well as our Director of Permits and Inspections for being here, along with Nick Stewart from We the People. We're gathering today to discuss next steps on the recently voted upon Adequate Public Facilities Ordinance legislation, or APFO for short. I'll start by saying we all agree that overcrowding in our schools is a significant challenge that prevents student learning, places additional stresses on our educators who continue to work tirelessly to help our children succeed. And I come about this issue and I care about this issue not just as county executive, but also as a Baltimore County public school parent. I want to first say my administration has been fully committed to finding solutions to this problem, which includes 3 different tools. The first and most critical tool is school construction. I'm proud that we have invested hundreds of millions of dollars into capital improvements, more than any other administration in Baltimore County's history. In the process, we've not only modernized many of our schools, we have also created over 3,000 new seats to support student success. This has enabled us to address and overcome significant capacity, school condition, and education quality concerns. The second tool is school redistricting. We have had, when we have additional capacity in our schools, we should take advantage of that capacity to alleviate overcrowding. Unfortunately, there was a history of school boards and superintendents that were unwilling to do this hard work in the past, but that is changing under the leadership of this superintendent and this school board. In fact, several school boundary reviews have been completed with attendance zones adjusted in just the past few years. I applaud Dr. Rogers, Chair Dwyer, and BCPS for their efforts in this space. The third and final tool to address school overcrowding are APFO bills. Legislation of this type is important to fill gaps, especially when school construction and school redistricting are not happening. But to be clear, I fully support all 3 of these tools, including APFO policies. However, while we applaud the intentions of the members of the County Council seeking to address school overcrowding concerns, we are confident that this legislation will not meaningfully address the issue, but will instead exacerbate other significant problems that our residents are already facing. Nowhere is this more clear than in our need to better tackle the attainable housing imperative here in Baltimore County. We have both a moral and legal obligation to ensure our residents have access to attainable housing options. Addressing school overcrowding and creating more attainable housing are priorities that need not be mutually exclusive. As things stand, there are simply not enough places to adequately house everyone already living in Baltimore County, with families doubling up in some cases or living out of motels. These are our current students, and failing to provide them with sufficient housing options is affirmatively disinvesting in their future. Not only will this legislation drastically reduce attainable housing opportunities countywide, but after conferring with our county attorney, it has also been found to be in direct conflict with our county charter, as well as our voluntary compliance agreement with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This legislation provided no exemptions for our VCA, let alone attainable housing more generally. For these reasons, I have vetoed Baltimore County Bill 3124. We have made this decision after hearing from partners and stakeholders across Baltimore County, and we heard overwhelming opposition. This legislation is opposed by the school system leadership, the NAACP, business organizations, the Baltimore Sun editorial board, housing advocates, and more. While I join them in opposing this legislation, I do not oppose APFO legislation as a third tool in our work to address school overcrowding. In fact, we all agree that we have an opportunity to continue to refine this legislation so that it addresses the needs of our school system and creates new pathways towards attainable housing. It is, for example, our understanding that BCPS leadership was not engaged prior to the introduction of the bill. Furthermore, amendments which were offered by BCPS were rejected outright. We also believe that future efforts should better take into account the impact of our multi-year improvement plan for all schools, an initiative that has already enabled us to provide historic funding for school construction and improvements, and an effort that we are seeking to collaboratively continue with authorization to borrow more than $250 million in November so that we can continue our investments in our school infrastructure, including overcrowding solutions. These historic efforts have been a product of partnership. And I urge the County Council members to work with us to build on this foundation, to allow this veto to stand, and to commit to meaningful collaboration with BCPS, with community partners, and with our offices so that we can provide solutions that address our problems holistically. Let's quickly pull together leaders from county agencies like DHCD, PAI, and planning, the advocates for housing, our school system leaders, and yes, the advocates for the bill that we are vetoing today, to create a more workable solution, to introduce it, and to pass it. I'm especially grateful to Council members Julian Jones and Pat Young, represented today by Iman Imran, who share our desire to do more on school overcrowding, but who have also listened to these concerns about the bill during the legislative process and who are ready to start a conversation about how we can better address those concerns. Together, I know that we can use this opportunity to overcome the challenges and create a better Baltimore County that our residents deserve. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to turn things over to Superintendent Dr. Rogers.
Thank you. Good morning to all. I appreciate this opportunity to be here this morning and speak on behalf of Baltimore County Public Schools. We are grateful for the county executive support and unwavering commitment to Team BCPS. As well as the County Council. They have consistently shown their support for our school system, recognizing that investment in our students now means a thriving Baltimore County for years to come. They have provided $800 million towards school infrastructure needs, resulting in, as the county executive shared, more than 3,000 new seats for students in 7 brand new schools, with 2 more scheduled to open this fall, Nottingham Middle School and Bedford Elementary School. Without question, Baltimore County Public Schools shares the county executives and county council's commitment to reduce overcrowding in our schools. We are committed to providing our students with maximum opportunities for success and know that the physical space where they learn has an impact on climate and morale. Specifically, BCPS supports reducing the percentage in the definition of overcrowding from 115% to 105%, addressing adjacency rules, and when applicable, limiting the number of permits issued. We appreciate the work that the County Council has done in these areas. As a school system, we have responded to overcrowding in schools with boundary studies and capital projects to meet the needs of students. Additionally, we have a 15-year, multi-year improvement plan for all schools that provides a comprehensive roadmap for capital improvement that maximizes state funding, defines facility priorities with community input, and assesses existing facilities based on utilization, educational adequacy, and facility conditions. Since the task force report has been written, significant progress has been made. The number of schools that are at or above 115% capacity have been reduced from 27 to 10. Of the 10 schools that remain on the list, planned additions, new schools, or designs for school options are well underway. Major projects like Lansdowne High School, which is currently under construction, Delaney High School, Towson High School, and Scott Branch Elementary School are a part of the FY25 budget. We look forward to a new Career and Technology Center in the Northwest, additions to Patapsco High School, and solutions in the southeast and northeast portions of our county from the public referendum. I personally appreciate the recent opportunity to communicate with Bill's sponsor, Council Chair Patoka. Obviously, we would have liked to have been involved earlier to lend our expertise because I believe we are better together and through shared experiences provide critical context on this topic. Concerns remain from the team. Those concerns have been shared directly with members of the County Council. Addressing those concerns now would ensure clarity and successful coordination of efforts. We know that 70% of failures are a result of implementation. This is important enough for us to get it right the first time. BCPS stands ready and willing to come to the table together to address the remaining concerns, meet the legal requirements, and incorporate the expertise of those trained and experienced in this critical work. I look forward to the opportunity to continue open dialogue, collaborate, and create a framework that benefits all students across Team BCPS. This time, I'd like to turn it over to Board of Education Chair Tiara Booker Dwyer. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you to County Executive and to the County Council for their continued support of Baltimore County Public Schools. I'm here today speaking on behalf of the board on a matter of utmost importance, the issue of overcrowding in our schools. The board is in support of ensuring that our schools do not exceed capacity limitations. Furthermore, we are fully supportive of collaboratively exploring and implementing research-based strategies aimed at addressing the root causes of overcrowding. The issue of overcrowding is a system challenge that requires system solutions. While the Adequate Public Facilities Bill is well-intentioned, in its current form, it is unlikely to yield the desired results of fully alleviating overcrowding in our schools. We appreciate the collaborative efforts of the County Council in reviewing and considering revisions to the bill as proposed by our board's attorney. While we observed some improvements in the revised bill, concerns persist. It is imperative that we continue to work together as a Baltimore County community to craft a comprehensive solution that addresses the underlying issues contributing to overcrowding. This necessitates a multifaceted approach that considers factors such as population growth, school zoning, infrastructure development, and resource allocation. The board remains unwavering in its commitment to our core priorities: academic achievement, safety and climate, infrastructure, and the recruitment and retention of high-quality teachers, leaders, and staff. We eagerly anticipate continued collaboration with the County Council to implement effective solutions that will elevate our school systems and propel our students to excellence. And with this, I'll turn it over to Councilman Julian Jones.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Superintendent Rogers as well as County Executive Olszewski for your leadership on this issue. Clearly, from the very beginning, I think it was very clear that everyone is invested in not having overcrowded schools. But to be quite frank, this bill, in my opinion, was more about anti-housing than anything to do with reducing school overcrowding. There are a number of amendments that were placed to try to make this bill more reasonable. For example, as it related to the county executive talking about our lawsuit and our agreement with the federal government, there was a bill, that was an amendment that I proposed that said that we would not include affordable housing units. That amendment was voted down. Baltimore County Public Schools submitted 30 amendments. I submitted each one on their behalf, well, on my own behalf, but I submitted each one, and every one of them was dismissed, or none of them passed. So as you can see, from the very beginning, all I wanted to do was to make sure that we had professionals, including BCPS, at the table when we're talking about doing something that can wreak havoc on our economy and cause people not to be able to afford a home here in Baltimore County. Home ownership is deeply important to me, and I think we must do everything in our power to make sure that Baltimore County is a place that people can afford to purchase a home and live here. This bill would have basically shut down overcrowding, would have shut down home ownership or new home starts throughout Baltimore County. And I think it's very important that when we look at adequate public facilities, we must have the schools at the table to make sure we are doing something that they want us to do that is helpful to them in their mission of educating our children and giving them the very best environment we can. I think it's also important that we have the other professionals at the table. These are people that we pay to do a job, and we trust in them, and they should be at the table to make those decisions. So thank you so much. I look forward to working with my colleagues to put something together that will be a lot better, more collaborative, and more effective, and at the same time, not shut down every housing start in Baltimore County, as was done in other jurisdictions who went down this road. So thank you very much. And the next speaker will be Mr. Nick Stewart, co-founder of We the People. Thank you. God bless you all. Bye.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Nick Stewart. I'm the co-founder of an advocacy group called We the People, Baltimore County. We're a group of planning advocates who are focused on the principles of smart growth and good policy. I'm also the former vice chair of the Baltimore County School Board, and I have 4 young kids who are all tracking in BCPS. So my wife and I are invested in this. We care a lot about school overcrowding. And while noble, this bill is neither smart growth nor good policy, and there are several reasons why. First, this bill will, as Councilman Jones pointed out, negatively impact all of us. APFO laws structured in this way have been shown to increase housing prices and price out new taxpayers. They've been shown to reduce our existing tax base and the ability to make new school investments. And they have been shown to create barriers for redevelopment, to turn, for example, vacant lots into tax-generating properties. That's why Montgomery County and Anne Arundel County moved away relatively recently from their strict housing bans, is exactly this issue. Second, this bill stops housing at a time when the county is facing a housing crisis. Our working families should be able to live in the county that they serve, and young people should be able to live in the county that they grew up in, but neither is really possible. And if we've lost population for the first time since the 1920 census, we're heading in the wrong direction on that score. It's also why 1/3 of our young people in the state of Maryland have said that they're considering leaving this state. That's not the right direction. Third, this bill doesn't address the reason for overcrowding, which is primarily because of structural underinvestment. The reason for underinvestment is because we don't collect impact fees from developers. So we believe, as We the People, that if we're going to impose a ban on all new developments because of poor infrastructure, then we need this bill to require the county to collect fees so it can lift that ban. Finally, this bill ultimately focuses on the wrong thing. It's premised on the idea that overcrowding is caused by new housing, and that we're not doing anything about it. But these are the facts. Overcrowding is primarily caused by turnover of existing homes, not new growth. And the county executive has put into place a bold plan on school construction and facilities, billions of dollars over the next 15 years. This bill doesn't account for any of that and just says we're stopping development now. So ultimately, we must be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We must be able to create new housing while also investing in the infrastructure to support it. We can. It's going to take collaboration. That's been mentioned today. It's going to take leadership. That's what we see from our county executive, from Councilman Jones, from Councilman Young, from our BCS partners. Today's decision creates a space for us to get there. Thanks. And now let me bring up county executive. Sorry, Sean.